No. Come on, where is it?
Dave, it's your Idaho Central app here. Any chance you're missing a debit card? Let's get that taken care of for you. With ICCU's card control, you can turn any card off with the tap of your finger.
You got it.
And back on again. Out, 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 out. The closest Idaho Central Credit Union branch is in your pocket.
Ooh, the gym. Old stomping grounds. Hank Patterson, Fly Fishing Guide.
Riley Smith, tight end.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Hey, you wouldn't happen to be the kicker?
No, tight end.
Again, thank you. I'm looking for a kicker for Lithia Ford's fall kickoff sale. But you're not the kicker.
No.
Yeah. Nah, the kicker's probably taller and in a lot better shape. So, okay. What position do you play?
Tight end.
Squats. Yeah. Try it sometime.
RowPaint.com, the official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, is going all in this season with an all-star lineup. First up, he led the Broncos to 3 conference championships and 10 20-win seasons. It's Coach Leon Rice. Next, he's the founder and CEO of RowPaint.com. He played a little basketball in high school on the driveway with his mom. It's Andy Rowe.
Oh, no. Want to just paint my house?
Now that I can do. When I want Boise State to win, I trust Coach Rice to lead the Broncos to victory.
And when I want the best painting and garage floor coating, I trust RowPaint.com to get that job done right.
This is Bronco Nation News Live. The best interviews, the most informed opinions, the latest breaking news, all from the top Boise State insiders. Today's broadcast is coming from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of pre-mixed premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Canned Cocktails is perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Now, here's 4-time NSMA Idaho Sports Writer of the Year, BJ Rains, with another edition of Bronco Nation News Live.
Hey, how we doing, Boise State fans? BJ Rains and Jay Tust with you. It is a Friday edition of Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com. We're presented by RowPaint.com, our title sponsor. Check them out, ROEPaint.com, for all your painting needs, whether that's concrete coatings, interior, exterior, residential, commercial, industrial, you name it. Check out our friends at RowPaint.com, making this whole platform program possible. And Jay, excited for this one. Excited to chat with you for the next 30, 35 minutes or so. But then we got Clark Kellogg scheduled to join us from the Atlanta airport. I did not know this, but Clark Kellogg is living in Florida right now. So he's coming all the way from Florida to Boise to call this game for national CBS tomorrow. And he's scheduled to take some time to join us in about a half an hour or so. And looking forward to catch up with Clark Kellogg. And believe this is the first ever national, I don't know if I'm allowed to say CBS with Jay Tust on NBC here, but first ever CBS national broadcast of a Boise State basketball game. So I would put the KTVB production up against anybody in the world, but still a pretty turn that mic back up, Jay, unless that's me. I think you're let's see.
I feel like I got it right today. I clicked the little button over.
Now you're good. There you go. Now
Yeah.
it's that sounds much better. There we go. But again, I would put it up against KTVB's production any day of the week. But pretty cool still. First ever time, I believe, CBS, national CBS, coming to Boise tomorrow.
Really? This is the first ever time for that.
Wow. I mean, they've done like NCAA tournament games here, but not involving Boise State. First Boise State game anywhere, I think, on, because even the tournament games, I don't know if they were on CBS or if they were on the
I
other
don't
True
feel like the tournament
TVs or
games
whatever.
landed-
So
Yeah. I feel like they're kind of more on the obscure ones, not on the main CBS. But yeah, no, it's a big deal, man. I don't care. That is a cool deal. Anytime, excuse me, you can get that type of that stage, that spotlight. Great thing for the program. And man, by this time tomorrow, we're going to be like at Extra Mile Arena probably, or at least like
I was already thinking of that. I'll be
That's
setting
crazy.
the pregame show 24 hours from now. Yep.
Completely used to it for Boise State football, but
Yeah.
this will be one of the earlier wake up calls, I would say, for a men's basketball game that I've attended here in the city of Treats. It really might be the earliest. You can't really tip off any earlier than this in the Mountain Time Zone.
No, they've had some noon or 1 o'clock games, but 11 a.m. game local time for basketball certainly is a little bit early. But I was looking at Clark Kellogg, man. I didn't realize like how good of a player. I knew he was a good player, but I went to look it up. Like McDonald's All-American, first-round NBA draft pick, All-American at Ohio State, and then averaged like almost 20 points a game in the NBA, but then had some chronic knee issues and had to retire, and has been doing the broadcasting stuff since 1990. So we're going on, almost 35 years here of him now doing the color commentating and the analyst work. And he's mostly in the studio now, but he does a couple games here and there. He actually did the UNLV San Diego State game 2 weeks ago in San Diego. Again, he'll be he's en route and on his layover, hopefully going to join us here in about 30 minutes in Atlanta, I believe, and looking forward to have Clark Kellogg. He'll be doing the game with Spiro Didis, I think it is. I always mispronounce his last name, but Spiro did the game last week, New Mexico and San Diego State. He gets into it, and if there's some big plays in Boise, he's one of those guys that gets hyped up by the crowd, and he'll be going crazy. I actually really like Spiro. He's a younger guy that does a really good job, does a lot of the NFL games for CBS on football. So it's a nice crew tomorrow, and I think adds to the excitement, adds to the magnitude of this game, man.
Yeah, and it is a big game. Gosh, I feel like we've said that before every game, but it really feels like that is just the case right now in Mountain West play. Every game you're facing a good team, and if you're not, it's a must-win game in another type of sense because it's really going to hurt you if you drop it. But you're just looking at what Air Force, Wyoming, Fresno State. I guess when San Jose State comes here, but there are just a lot of really good teams in the Mountain West this year, and so every game is a big game. This one feels a little bit bigger because you're taking on the defending NAIA national champs and a perennial power in the Mountain West Conference. So,
do you say defending NAIA national champs?
Wow, sorry, I was.
I had to let that go for a second to make sure I heard what I thought.
You're good. No, you're good. I was looking at my script from last night. I went out and talked with the Yotes. Hey, Yotes 9 in a row, up to third in the country.
Let's go.
Samaje Morgan on the top 100 list for small-time college basketball. I'm crossing over there, buddy. But
by the way, the Mountain West Championship game was on CBS. So I guess we're going regular season, and we're also going games in Boise. I guess technically they had a CBS game for the Mountain West Championship game a couple years ago.
Okay. All right.
We'll go first time in Boise for CBS. First time.
Look at Quentin keeping you honest at 9:07 on a Friday morning. Let's go, Quentin.
Nothing can get past this group.
Yeah.
But
you're looking at a team. I love the announcers that get into it. Like, I don't want you flatlined when big plays happen. Go ahead, let it fly. Let's have fun. And good crew on hand, good game on hand. Should be darn near a sellout. I was kind of looking for tickets, seeing if my family wanted to go because it's 11 a.m. tip off. And as you know, BJ, when you have kids, that's kind of a favorable time. But I don't know if I can get enough seats together for.
When I looked last night, there was some, but they're in the upper deck, and
it's literally the last row. It is literally the last row in the venue.
Yeah, there are some left though. So if you're thinking about going, do not wait. I would buy them like right now because last I looked, there was, and I'll check while you're talking here, Jay. But yeah, there was a couple different sections that had maybe 3, 4, 5, 6 together, but I would say there's maybe 500 left, maybe less than that for the entire stadium when you start factoring in the single tickets and all that. And the Rains boys and Karen will be there, but they'll be a few minutes late. Naismith has baseball tryouts tomorrow that end at 11. So they'll be hurrying down there and trying to get there as soon as they can. So there will be 3 open seats right at tip off, but hopefully not for long. That they will be there, and they're looking forward to it. And you can only hope, Jay, that it's as exciting as last year's San Diego State game was.
Yeah, man. Are we hoping for that?
Being down eight with 6 minutes to go, maybe not. No.
I don't know how many people could take another finish like that. The Max Rice game, where that was an incredible.
Fans would certainly take that with how Max has been shooting the ball lately. I think fans would certainly take 28 from Max Rice.
You're probably right. It's special though, man, when San Diego State comes to town. Like it is. It's always fun. One of the best games that I've ever seen. Probably the best performance I've ever seen was Chandler Hutchison hanging 44 on the Aztecs. That corner three to cap it off, and that was a really, really special game at Extra Mile Arena. That's an all-timer for me, and it just seems like it always kind of comes down to the wire. It's never a blowout, and I think this game's trending in that same way. They kind of mirror each other, I would say, in terms of pace and tempo and what they want to do. So it should be a really fun morning at Extra Mile Arena, where the winner gets, an upper hand at, Mountain West Conference Championship in the regular season, seeding at the NCAA at the Mountain West tournament. This is a big game for a number of reasons, BJ.
Here's the updated look, Jay. I'll pull it up on screen here of the sections with available tickets left. So you're looking at no seats around in the upper level where Leon's Landing is. I'll see if I can zoom in on a couple of these sections here. I think there are some multiple seats together in some of these. So yeah, there's still some for you, Jay. I don't know how many you need there, but you look at some of these sections towards the top. So it's not sold out yet, but I would say you're trending in the right direction if you're Boise State. That section right there still has a lot left, and when they alternate the rows like that they're trying to make it look full. So I don't know what that means in terms of tickets being left, but some other sections have a couple. There's one in that section trending towards a sellout, but I would say still tickets left. I would say it's not not a guarantee to be a sellout based on a couple of these sections having a decent number left. There's only 5 left in that one. This one,
maybe they don't wait long enough 20. For it to kind of populate. But I think I was looking at those like last row in. Yeah.
And then, there's single seats. There's 4. These look like your area right down there, Joe. Jay, $125 a ticket right there. That's Camille and the kiddos section right there. Come on.
Okay.
We can add that to the to next month's BNN check maybe and help you out there.
That sounds good.
They do have the dynamic pricing in full effect for this one. I will say that they have prices are a little higher for this game than they are for some of the normal games. But when I looked at this map about 24 hours till tip off of the color of the UNLV game, pretty much every section had blue. So the fact that there's only a couple sections left, not sold out yet, but I would say that's probably only, 200 tickets or so left. That's trending in the right direction for sure.
Yeah. When you look at these teams, BJ, I think you're looking at 2 of the better defensive teams in the country. I'll lean on Ken Palm for the adjusted defensive metric. And yeah, Boise State, they rank 26th in the country. San Diego State ranks 21st in the country. San Diego State's been a more efficient offensive team. They're 52nd in the country in adjusted offense, to where Boise State is now dipped to 119th. That's a number that they need to come back up. They were in the top 100 pretty much all season long, and these last couple of games they've dipped below that. So they need to get things figured out a little bit offensively. I don't know if the ship has sailed on leaning on the bench, man. I think it's just going to be tough at this point in time in the year. I think you have some guys on the end of the bench probably battling a little adversity, realizing that. We'll see if they can push through it and still make a contribution here. But, I think that you pointed this out. I mean, all the starters are back up to where they were at this point in time last year, maybe even above it in some cases. So we really thought the bench was going to be more of a factor for this team. And it really is. It hasn't been the case. I mean, we haven't seen RJ Keene play in a couple of games now, and
he hasn't played Mountain West play. Has not played a second in Mountain West play.
I really thought. I mean, that's just me, and I know he's coming back from injury and working all through that stuff. But I really thought Keene was going to be a guy that was going to log minutes in Mountain West Conference play for this team.
Hasn't played a second Mountain West play. Kobe Young has 3 minutes in one game in Mountain West play. I think it was a San Jose State game. Ace Whiting's not doing much in Mountain West play. Neither is I got the numbers right here. Meadow is 14.8 minutes in Mountain West play. Martin is 12.0. Whiting 8.5. but all 5 starters over 31 minutes a game in Mountain West play. Boise State is the only Mountain West team among the contenders. I kind of counted at that top 6 or 7 that has all 5 starters at 30 minutes a game in Mountain West play. Any idea the only other team in the Mountain West, Jay? I mentioned this on yesterday's show, but Air Force. They average all 5 starters over 30 minutes as well, but they're 0-4 in conference play. But Boise State is riding its starters more than any of the other contenders in the Mountain West. When you look at 31.5 minutes a game, Omar Stanley is 5th on the team. And, Tyson Degenhart, nobody more on the Mountain West contenders plays more minutes. Now, Ethan Taylor is at like 38.5 for Air Force. But in terms of the 6-7 contenders, as I mentioned, we cut that off. Tyson Degenhart, 36.0 minutes per game, is first among all contenders, and Max Rice is third, 35 minutes a game. Isaiah Stevens is second at 35.8. But 2 of the top 3 players playing the most minutes of anybody in the Mountain West among the teams fighting for the title here come from Boise State. And, we talked about this with Jay or with Johnny the other day, but you and I both kind of piggybacked and asked Leon some questions about the bench, and he keeps saying, yeah, we need the bench, but we don't see the bench much to see them do anything. And so Jace Whiting got in there for like a minute and got a quick hook when he did something wrong, but you mentioned Keene not even playing, Kobe Young not even playing, and I said something about how do they show when they're not getting a ton of time in games what they can do, and he said, well, they don't need a ton of time, they need 1 second, and when you're out there, show you deserve to stay out there. And so it's kind of the chicken or the egg thing, really, as I said to Johnny, because they're not getting much time in the games to show they deserve to play, but how do they show it if they're not playing? But if they don't deserve to play, then they're not going to be out there, and we don't see practice, we don't see the meetings, we don't see all the other stuff that goes on. But this kind of has been Leon's MO. And I think we both said this over the summer, like we'll believe it when we see it in terms of playing this depth, but they talked all off season, all, 8 months. Even I went back and listened, Jay, right. I did a lot of research for this story, but the post-game press conference that you and I did with Tyson Degenhart standing outside the locker room after the Northwestern loss, like after last year's game, he mentioned on his own, San Diego, we need more depth like San Diego State. And that was before, San Diego State even made their run to the Final Four. But you look at what San Diego State has done in recent years with their minutes. And this year they've got 7 guys averaging 19.3 minutes into conference play, and only 1 guy, Jaden Ledee, is over 27.5 minutes a game. So they're still spreading it out, even with a new team this year. And Boise State, last year they had San Diego State last year had 9 guys that played at least 16 minutes a game, and nobody played more than 27.2. And Boise State spent 8 months saying that's what they wanted to do. And I don't know if that's on the coaching. I don't know if that's on the players for not being good enough. I don't know what the problem is. I think part of it, Jay, is, and fans don't want to hear it, is margin of victory matters. The net ranking, all that stuff matters. So they did have to keep their starters in some of these games longer than they probably wanted to. And the tough non-conference, you're not giving guys minutes against Clemson and some of these other games. And the result of that has been just not a lot of developed bench. And I also think Leon that's kind of been the thing the last couple of years where he trusts the guys that got him here and they're going to stick with their key guys. And I don't totally blame him. Late in the second half, would you rather have, an Abo or a Max Rice in there or an RJ Keene? So, I think that it'll be very interesting if he does try to do that, or if he basically just gives up on it and says, this is what we have.
Yeah. It's tough, man. I mean, I will say this about Tyson Degenhart. I don't think it matters who you have on the floor, who you have on the bench. Tyson's going to play. He is your war daddy, if you will. I mean, he's going to play 34 to 36, regardless of what you have out there. Right. But still, collectively, it's just a lot of minutes for everyone, man. And if you think it's going to add up in mid-January, once again, we've seen it add up in, late February, early March. And
how about the missed free throws in the game the other night? I mean, Tyson Degenhart missed a 1-on-1. You had Omar Stanley missed the front end of a 1-on-1, and then Tyson and Roddy Anderson both missed another free throw for guys that had played pretty much the entire second half to that point. I think fatigue certainly could have been a factor there.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, I'm right there with you, dude. And I'm just worried about how you find this answer in the middle of conference play. I mean, you're right. Margin of victory matters. Boise State has a pretty good resume, but they're still hovering in the mid 50s. And if you're an at-large team in the Mountain West Conference and you're in the net rankings and you're in the mid 50s, like, you're going to be concerned on Selection Sunday. Would you agree with that?
Oh yeah, they need to be. That's why that UNLV game and UNLV is going to end up being fine. I think it may even end up being a quad 2 loss if they can. And particularly if it's a big game,
dude. Like I think UNLV's got a chance tomorrow in Fort Collins. Like
that's tonight. That's tonight.
Or tonight, yeah. Excuse me, tonight in Fort Collins. Like I think UNLV's got a decent squad, man. Like how they got off to such a slow start, I don't know.
Yeah, just the overall momentum though of the rankings and things took a hit with that loss. And
it did.
I mean, they were at a season high 50, I think, at Ken Palm. They were at a season high 44 in the net.
Mm-hmm.
And the 30s.
If you're 44,
good if you're in the 30s, but for 44, you feel better than 55 or whatever.
Well, I mean, if you're 44 and you knock off San Diego State, you're probably now in the top. You're in the 30s now, at somewhere in the 30s, and now you're right. Like the momentum starts again. You get knocked back down the hill, and you got to get a couple of wins in order to get back up and onto the top of that thing. And I moved
up 2 spots last night, by the way, without even playing. They're up to 50.
Well, you saw it was San Francisco. They probably beat the Ken Palm number, and Washington State certainly crushed the Ken Palm number against Stanford. So, did you watch that game at all, BJ? Man. Miles Rice for Washington State.
That was a nice win, man. They were projected to, I think, win by 1 or lose by 1. It was the Ken Palm number, I think, was lose by 1. The spread in Vegas was like 3, and for them to win by 14, 15, whatever it was, and it was pretty much a rout from start to finish. Washington State, man, that's a game too. People that game has now moved into quad 1, at least temporarily. They're up to 47, so that gives Boise State another quad 1 loss, and so Clemson's now teetering. They're down to like 40. That's going to be one to keep watching here, where you could lose one if they keep falling. And Butler, I think, fell down to 64. And there's some other ones. But Virginia Tech is 59. So they have 2 there that are kind of falling back a little bit of late. But
we've said this, BJ, but it's clear, though, that Boise State needs to start adding to their resume. Like, they get the first blemish that it's not anything you can't recover from. It's not a quad 4 loss, which they did have last year, right? They did have a quad 4 loss last year. Those are really, really tough to bounce back
They've
from.
had multiple quad 3, quad 4 losses in each of the last 2 years.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, it's not like they can't recover from this, but now it really puts a big importance on this San Diego State game, because if you get it, you get another quad 1 victory. And if they get that, I mean, they're up to 4 quad 1 wins on the season. Again, some of those might fall off depending on where some of these teams in the Mountain West finish, but hey, at least you feel great about it for now, right? So they need to start adding to their resume. They need to start getting these big victories, and they need to get back in the right direction. I mean,
and I added it up, by the way, Jay. Sorry to cut you off, but only if they get the quad 4, if they get the quad 1 win tomorrow, that would be their 4th quad 1 win. There's only 10 teams in the country right now that currently have 4 or more quad 1 wins. So if they get the win tomorrow, I mean, and there's obviously 100 games tomorrow, more teams could add to that. But as of tomorrow morning, they would be only the 11th team in the country to have at least 4 quad 1 wins.
Yeah.
Last year, they only had 3 all season. They were 3-5 in quad 1 games.
Right. And some of those, I remind you, kind of came at the end of the year, too. I mean, like the San Diego State game was a late season quad 1 win. I believe no, I don't know if they got one at the Mountain West tournament, I guess. But either way, I mean, they got a quad 1 loss, I guess, at the Mountain West tournament. But these are opportunities that they have to start taking advantage of. It is go time. I mean, March is going to be here before we know it, and these are opportunities you can't let slip away. I will say this, though. If you look at what Boise State's done at home, they just had their 22-game home winning streak snapped. I meant to look this up before the start of the show, and I'll do it after the show. But, rarely, if ever, I mean, does Leon Rice lose back-to-backs at Extra Mile Arena? I mean, that's a stat that just doesn't happen. And so I would expect the guys to be juiced from the jump tonight. And I think that's where I was probably a little disappointed, BJ, in Boise State's efforts against UNLV. UNLV brought it early, and we all mocked and kind of made fun of whatever Robert Whaley was talking about with a revenge game, because that doesn't make any sense of why that would be a revenge game for him. But he came out and he played like it was a freaking revenge game. I mean, he was flexing on the crowd. He was yelling. He was their Energizer Bunny in that game that made a huge difference in the first half. And they got up double digits, and Boise State fought their way back in, and it was close at halftime. But again, to start the second half, they brought the energy. They brought the juice. But Boise State needs a rebounding effort like they had against Nevada, against San Diego State to have a chance. Like, they weren't terrible on the glass against UNLV, but they were far from their standard. I mean, I would even go, they weren't good. Anytime you give up 13 offensive rebounds, that's not good. Yes, I think a couple of the deflections, the ball just kind of seemed to bounce UNLV's way a little bit that night, but like still 13 offensive rebounds, they got to do a better job than that. They're taking on a San Diego State team that's not quite as long or as big as they've been in the past, but they still went out and hammered the glass 20 times against Nevada. And so
rebounds.
Yeah, they got time to put on the big boy pants, crash the glass. I think whoever wins the battle of the boards is going to win the battle of the scoreboard. I mean, that's often the way that it goes in the Leon Rice era, but I just think this is one of those games. You got to clean it up. You have to defensive rebound, especially against San Diego State, because they're just so good at getting on the glass, creating second chance opportunities. And sometimes, BJ, it's not even just necessarily like the second chance points. Yeah. It's the fact that if San Diego State goes down, they're kind of a slower tempo team, right? So let's say you defend 22 seconds on the shot clock. They throw one up with 8 seconds left. They get an offensive rebound. Shot clock resets. You're down on the defensive end of the floor for you upwards of 40, 50 seconds defending, right? And so it's going to be really important to win the defensive battle on the glass against San Diego State tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, Boise State doesn't lose 2 in a season at home very often, let alone 2 in a row. So I guarantee you that hasn't happened in a long time, and they'll need to have a valiant effort tomorrow. We'll talk more about this game, San Diego State, and what it means. But first, we need to take a quick 90-second timeout. I want to remind folks about the BNN pool party. Check us out. BNN KTIK will be there for the pool party on the 15th Mountain West Tournament semifinal Friday. Maybe we can even get a Tust cannonball live shot there at the pool party. Looking forward to this. If you're going to Vegas for the conference tournament, make sure to make plans now to join us. And if you want free entry, send me an email, rains@bronconationnews.com, RSVP, and you get to skip the $50 cover charge and get in for free, even if you're not staying at Circa Resort and Casino. Let us know. We'll be back in 90 seconds here on Bronco Nation News. All Bronco Nation News broadcasts come from the Cutwater Spirits Canned Cocktail Studios. Check out one of their more than 30 flavors of premix premium cocktails at your local gas station or grocery store. Cutwater Spirits, perfect for your next game day tailgate party. Our title sponsor is rowpaint.com. For all your commercial, industrial, residential painting needs, check out rowpaint.com. Don't forget about their concrete coatings. Transform that ugly concrete slab on your back patio in your garage in just one day. Contact rowpaint.com for a free estimate today. The official paint and coatings company of Boise State Athletics, and our title sponsor at Bronco Nation News is rowpaint.com. Idaho Central Credit Union's been helping members achieve financial success for more than 80 years. There's an ICCU branch on almost every corner, but the closest is in your pocket with free eBranch mobile and online banking. See why more than 500,000 members love ICCU, and join 1 in 4 Idahoans by making the switch today at ICCU.com. Since 1984, Ridley's Family Markets has prided itself on being a hometown food and drug store that employed value members of the local community. Ridley's Family Markets has 13 locations in the state of Idaho and many more in the surrounding states. Download the new Ridley's app to your smartphone, get savings up to 40% off at the checkout line, and find a location near you at shopridleys.com. Former Bronco Matt Bauscher is once again the number 1 ranked realtor in the Treasure Valley. No home is too big or too small for Matt and his team. Let them fulfill all your real estate needs at BauscherRealEstate.com. Again, we got Clark Kellogg coming up in about 10 minutes here. Looking forward to chatting with Clark Kellogg. He'll be on the call for CBS, so make sure you stay tuned for that. And also, quick shout out, Bronco Brew Coffee. Make sure you check them out. BroncoBrew.coffee is the website. Supporting Boise State University Athletics with every sip, roasted to order coffee. It tastes delicious. Highly recommend it. And again, you're putting money in the pocket of an NIL athlete right there with your purchase. Couple bucks. You can choose which athlete you want to get it. So it's a cool thing they're doing at Boise State. Check them out. BroncoBrew.coffee. All right, Jay, you mentioned the rebounding. I was looking at the KenPom numbers. Like San Diego State's decent, but they're not like great in terms of rebounding either. They're outside the top 100 in offensive and defensive rebounding. They're near 100, so they're upper third, but it's not like that's something that's jumps off the page at you. And Boise State 14th. They were 8th. It went to 14th in terms of defensive rebounding. I totally agree with you. I think that's where this game is going to be won or lost. Can Boise State control the glass on the defensive end, not give second chance points to San Diego State. But I also think Boise State's going to have to make some shots, man. Like Max Rice can't go 3 for 12 again. And we're not quite there yet, but we're very close to having to have some hard, serious conversations here about Max Rice and his playing time. And I know it's a sensitive subject, I guess, around the program. His dad's a coach and all that, but he played 38 minutes in that game and was 3 of 12 and played the entire second half, I believe, as well. And, Jay, I mean, just facts are facts. Leon came on the postgame and said you got to earn every minute you get, even if you're a starter, nothing's given to you. And I know some fans kind of said, well, what about, the guy that went 3 of 12? And he's hit some big free throws in some of these games. He's hit some big shots. For me, it feels like a lot of the floaters and like smaller shots in the lane that were all going in last year are not going in. A lot of layups are just kind of rolling off, and maybe he's due for a lot of those to go in. But we talked about it at the beginning of the show. They really could use Max Rice to get going from, especially from 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, especially with the way teams are now approaching Omar Stanley too, BJ. They could use a hot shooting effort from Max Rice. I'll say this. When you've been around as long as Max has, I mean, he's been in college for a while now. The expectations just change. Because on one hand, we can say that he's struggling, and I think that anybody would admit that, especially shooting the basketball. But he's also scored in double figures in each of the 5 last games. Now, he's also played, over 31 minutes in each of the last 5 games. But to condense it down to the last 4 games where you want to critique his shooting efficiency, he's shooting 27.5% from the field, 25% from 3. Sure, he's grabbing 6 rebounds, is averaging a pair of assists and almost 11 points per game. But those efficiency numbers, they have to come up. I hope that he's not approaching it that way, because that's only going to add pressure to him. But they have to come up. They need to see that kind of take a turn and correct itself. And we've seen Max go through these efforts before. He's clearly a kid that could come out and feel like he doesn't miss a shot against San Diego State.
Yeah.
But he needs to. You're right, man. Like those efficiency numbers are hard to ignore. Yes, he does a lot of other things for this team. He came up with a late steal against UNLV that helped get Boise State back into that game. He's if there's anybody in on the team you want at the free throw line, it's probably Max Rice.
Yeah.
We mentioned a bunch of missed free throws at the end of the UNLV game. Who didn't miss his free throws? For the most, actually, I think he missed one. Now that I say that, either way, like Max Rice is pretty money in those situations. So, they need him. No, he didn't miss any free throws.
Max was 2 of 2 in that game, and he was 6 of 6, I believe, from the line in the Nevada game as well.
He's 6 of 6 against Colorado State too, and that closing out that game. So yeah, he does things that are more that offer value besides shooting percentages. But he's a shooter, man. And with the way teams again are trying to attack Omar Stanley, where they're no longer letting him just go 1-on-1 all game, they need a guy like Max to knock down some shots. It's not going to be perfect all season. I want to say that too. Like if anybody thought that they were just going to run through the Mountain West slate of games without any adversity or any struggles, that's such a ridiculous expectation to have of this team. It's going to happen. There are ebbs and flows, but it's all about how you respond. Leon Rice said that after the game. Is the bench going to bring the juice? Are they going to embrace their role and try to impact the game? Even if they get 1 second to do it, they have to do that from the jump. Boise State has to bring it tomorrow. And this is a point where the Broncos have to respond if they want to consider themselves title contenders. You have to defend your home floor. You have to respond from a loss, and you have to do it against a team that is sitting in that next spot outside the AP top 25 right now. San Diego State's at 26, in the AP top 25. I know people get frustrated when you say that, but they're the first team on the outside of the poll. And if they win this game, they're probably back inside the top 25. So I'm looking forward to it. I know it's going to be a special atmosphere and a special game tomorrow.
Yeah, and Bronco Races, I'm stirring the Max Rice issue again. I'm not stirring anything. I'm just looking at facts. We like Max Rice. I actually believe that Max Rice is going to get it going. I call me a Max Rice homer. Every time he takes a 3-pointer, I think it's going in. And maybe I have the same, blind faith that Leon has at this point. I don't know, but I saw what he did last year. I have the faith in him that he is going to turn it around, and I think Leon does. And nothing against RJ Keene or any of the other guys. I just don't know who else you're giving 10 of his minutes to at this point. And so let me just hold on one second, Jay. I just want to get this clear, like in case whoever's watching this or whatever. Like I am not advocating benching Max Rice. If could you get him a couple minutes here and there? Would he be better at 35 than 38? I think so. I would like to see him get spelled a little bit. I do think that'd be good for everybody, but I don't think benching Max Rice is the answer or giving half of his minutes to Andrew Meadow is the answer. I believe he still has a lot of big shots to make this season and is going to do well. We're just pointing out the facts. He has not shot the ball great this year. 33% from three for the season. It's below 30% in conference play. And if this team wants to do what they want to do this year, they need Max Rice to be a major contributor. I think Leon would say that. I think Max would say that. Like, he has largely underperformed to what I think expectations were this year. And so those are facts. I'm not stirring anything up. But I also, while pointing out the facts of his struggles shooting, believe he's going to turn it around and have some big shots left. And I think he's going to do some big things the rest of the year and help this team win. And it would not shock me at all. We both said it last game. It was going to be the Max Rice game. And I wouldn't.
I was going to bring up, BJ. We were sitting there arguing on press row. We were sitting there arguing on press row about who predicted it first. And I really felt the UNLV game was going to be a bit of a breakout for Max. And so we might sit on press row and have the same argument tomorrow, because I think that the opportunity is there. One bit
if he scores 23 points and hits 5 threes tomorrow.
Yeah, it wouldn't. So we'll see if it can happen. But
I'm rooting for it. He's a good guy, great guy. I mean, we never want to see anybody do bad. Like, I just somehow we're stirring it up by pointing out facts. Like, you look at this team and why they're struggling at this point. Like, Max Rice needs to shoot a little better. I don't think anybody would deny that. I don't think that's taking some huge shot at Max Rice. Like, and if he has some huge game tomorrow, maybe he's going to say, "Oh, you guys didn't think I could shoot. I proved you all wrong." Well, great. Like, let him, if that's what's going to fire him up, that's fine. Like, but we're not saying that. He's a very talented shooter that's just having a rough go for a good chunk of this season. He had the 3 huge games there, Jay, where he hit at least 5 threes, I think 3 games in a row against Western Oregon. And there was, basically no namers there in the middle of December. And you take away those 16 threes, and the rest of the stats before that and after that just haven't been good. But I've seen him make too many shots. I've seen him go on too many runs. And I guarantee you Brian Dutcher is still very concerned and worried about Max Rice going into tomorrow's game. And so I just want to make sure I make that known, that we're not stirring anything up. And if we want to call us Max Rice homers, whatever, I think we've stuck to the facts here. He needs to play better, but I think both of us still expect that he will.
Yeah. I'm right there. And I just don't, for all the people out there, and you usually get, whether he scores 30 or 5, you usually get somebody that complains to you about how many minutes he's getting, or things like that. And my response to that is, who you giving them to? I don't. You just want to take him out of the lineup? Like, who else do you think is going to give you what he gives you if you play somebody else 35 minutes?
Agreed.
That's not going to be a recipe for success. I like the fact what you said. Like, yes, if you could just get him a few less minutes, maybe you keep him fresh. Max has played a ton of games, logged a ton of minutes. He's had health, concerns in the past with his back and things like that. So if you can take, again, a little of the wear and tear off of him, it would be huge. And Leon's got to figure out a way to do that, man. And I don't think it's necessarily second half substitutions, because not only has Leon, historically, ridden his starters hard in the second half, but when you're going into games like this, anybody's going to ride their starters a little harder in the second half. I think it's going to be important to keep those guys in that 15-minute range in the first half, right? You go into the locker room, you get that breather, and then all of a sudden it allows them, if they're playing, that 18 to 20 minutes in the second half, that's still, you're looking at 33 to 35 minutes a game, somewhere in that range probably. And so I think if they can get to that, that would be the recipe for success. But Bob's right on this, man. You really can't tell with Max. First shot goes down, let's go. And if it doesn't, it's going to be a bit of a arduous task, if you will. But, there was a few games ago where Max had a big game and he really slowed himself down, especially in the paint. I think you're going to see Max collect himself against San Diego State. And I think you're going to see him focus on his pace And I think you're going to see him respond. I don't know if I'll wait for Press Row to predict who the star player of the game is going to be. I'm not ready to go that far yet. In terms of saying Max is going to lead the game in scoring or something like that. Yep. But I just think he's a guy that knows how to respond. He's an absolute film junkie. Playing on a Tuesday, game on a Saturday, he's probably had a little more time to prepare, recover, all of those things. I just think you're going to see him come out in a much more deliberate fashion and use his experience to his advantage against San Diego State.
Yeah, we'll see. And again, if there's 4.5 minutes left and you're down 5 and you need a big 3, nothing against RJ Keene, but do you really want RJ Keene or Kobe Young taking that shot over Max Rice? I don't think so at this point. So I think there's some ways, Jay. Give him a few extra minutes here and there. Maybe he doesn't need to take 12 shots. Maybe it's 8 or 9. Again, for me, a lot of it is the like floaters and layups last year that were all going in or just rimming off. It's just been kind of weird. But we all love John Mallory, by the way. He's our guy, right? I don't know if this is true or not, but what do you make of Sky Ship here? He says that if Max hits 5 threes, ball game said on the radio, he will lead the court storm tomorrow.
I was holding Johnny down after Max's first 3 against UNLV. I was sitting next to him.
The third row at Press Row.
Yeah, so I was sitting next to him. I was like, dude, not now. Bad time. What's in the middle of the game? But he was threatening, man. He was ready to roll, He was ready to go.
Well, we know Johnny has taken a selfie with Max Rice on the court after they beat San Diego State last year and stormed the court. Johnny got a selfie with Max Rice to celebrate senior night. I believe that was the game and winning the
live in the moment, bud.
Clinching a spot in the NCAA tournament probably. So we'll see what John Mallory. Is tomorrow a court storm though? I mean, I know I'm the old guy and I'm starting to like not care as much. If you want to do it, cool, but like they're not even ranked. Like when the spread comes out today, it's going to be a pick 'em or a 1-point spread, 2-point spread either way.
I bet you San Diego State's going to be favored tomorrow.
But is it still 1 or 2 points? Is that still enough for a court storm? Maybe national CBS. I don't know. But like, what does tomorrow's win get you? Like, it doesn't put you in the NCAA tournament. It doesn't win you the Mountain West. It doesn't give you a win over a ranked team. I'm starting to soften my stance on it, but that even tomorrow might be a little too far for me
you and Justin Schultz just standing there with your megaphones yelling, "Get off my lawn." Okay? I don't want anyone to have fun. No fun for anyone. I don't care. Okay? Get off my lawn. No court storming.
Kurt agrees.
It's college hoops. Whatever. Do it. Kids, go crazy. Whatever you feel is right, go for it.
Jordan says, "Get off my lawn." I don't know, man. Bill said it's warmer on the court. Is it warmer down on the court?
Probably.
Does it keep the student section full and returning? Jordan says, because if so, maybe you do it to let them have some fun.
I think if you're Boise State, it's all about experience.
All right, win the game tomorrow and storm the court. I'm fine with it. All right, who cares? Storm the court. I don't know how that would look. I mean, Boise State has also beaten San Diego State. I think it's 5 of the last 6 times in Boise. Like San Diego State has come up here and not done. Like it doesn't maybe seem that way. Kareem says it's San Diego State, man. It's a must court storm game. Maybe it is, but
what do we got to do to storm the softball field this spring? I think that is.
I feel like Justin Schultz would be out there blocking the grass and the dirt, not wanting anybody out there.
Jordan, you have a new task, a new responsibility. We need you to bring the blue collar crew all up to a big softball game this spring, one that would justify a field storm, and you guys need to like carry Schultz off the field and change his opinion about court storming or field storming.
I signed off. I just right here on the show. You know what, Jay? Every game the rest of the season, you beat San Jose State at home in a couple of weeks, you better storm the court. Every game, you storm the court.
Turn it into a thing. You just storm the court after every game.
I mentioned something to Nico Medved about that at Media Days. I said, yeah, you guys storm the court on whatever. Nico's like, yeah, we storm the court pretty much every game. And so, I mean, it is what it is, but you know what? Go for it. Why not? I will not say another word about storming the court. You want to storm the court, you storm the court. I went to a place where they have never stormed the court one time in their history. So it's hard for me to
yeah, that sounds boring.
Yeah. I take that back. They did when they won the championship in 2008. They had a watch party at the game on the big screens, and everyone stormed the court at that point. If Jay's mic is not muted the next show, we're storming the court. That's what Kareem the Dream says. You went a whole show. You went a whole show this time without doing it. So I think
we still got 2 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're so far. Jay should take the weather segment tonight and predict thunderstorms at 100% at 2 p.m. tomorrow-ish. There you go.
Boom.
1 p.m. 2 p.m. Come on, everyone's gonna be home.
A little late. I don't want overtime. I'll take 2. Take 1. I mean, yeah.
All right, you win the game tomorrow. You storm the court, Bronco Nation. Make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
Go for it. I've decided that I'm being too much of an old guy. I don't 100% sign off with it. I think it should be reserved personally for a top 10 huge special type of game. But if it's for kids having fun, again, it is what it is.
You joke around about Kansas. You joke around about Kansas. How often do they get to host top 10 matchups? Like that happens. Boise State in the Mountain West, like you're lucky if you get one of those every 5 years.
Not a lot of opportunities for a true court storming.
Yeah, exactly. So anybody that's in the top 25, and by the way, Colorado State is 24 in the coaches poll at the very least, so they are in the top 25 somewhere. Do whatever. All
right. Well, I'm not ripping on the fans. You guys can act however you want. I'm not going to make a positive or negative comment about the court storming for the rest of the season. If you want to do
I'm
it,
excited though, man.
If you want to do it, have fun.
I really am excited for tomorrow's game. Tyson Degenhardt at the end of the UNLV game, like he really did try to put Boise State on his back. I mean, he was on attack mode. He's getting one-on-one matchups and getting after it. And, he finishes with over 20 points. He's now top 5 in the Mountain West in scoring in league games. He was outstanding the other night. I expect him to be the same. I want to see him get it going a little bit early. I know that in the past, Leon has said like he's so good at like picking and choosing and letting the game come to him. But with 6 minutes to go in the first half, I don't want to see Tyson with one shot, man. Like I want to see him, them find a way. Even if you got to find a way, then right, like find a way to put him in those positions. Like he's so good, he's such a winner, he's so tough. He's the tone setter for your program, and one could argue that the city of Boise right now, with how many people are paying attention to this basketball team, get him going and let him rock.
You got to get him going earlier, but you also have to keep Abo going in the second half. They basically have been opposites lately.
Yeah, and that's fine. Like, go ahead and pick and choose there, but I agree. Like Buzo, when he gets going, man, he gets going. But then like you'll kind of look up and you're like, man, he had 15 at halftime. Wow, there's 3 minutes to go. And he's got 15 minutes to go. Or he's got 15 in the game. So
he didn't score in the second half in the UNLV game.
Right. So if they could find a way to sustain that a little bit more, but here's the deal. I'll sum it up like this because I know we're near the end of the shot clock here, BJ. The team's not perfect, and nobody expected them to be. They're still very, very good. And they got a chance to prove it tomorrow against Colorado or against San Diego State that they're one of the best in the Mountain West and a top NCAA tournament, contender to get into March Madness again. And I know that we're still a month and a half away from really deciding that, but it begins tomorrow for the Boise State men's basketball team. Time for the Broncos to go get it.
Somebody asked if it's a must-win game. I would say it's not a must-win game in terms of getting to the big dance. But I would say, Jay, if you want to win the Mountain West, it probably is a must-win game. To lose 2 straight home games, that makes it really hard to win the Mountain West if you lose 2 straight home games. So I'm going to say if you have realistic expectations of winning an outright regular season Mountain West title, I think you need to win tomorrow.
Yep, agreed.
You still got, I don't want to say 4 losses left, but you still have to go to the Pit. You still have to go to Viejas. Yep. You still have to go to Logan. You still have to go to Colorado State. Like that's 4 games. Like you'd be lucky to go 1-3 in those 4 games. So you probably have at minimum 3 more losses on your schedule, which puts you at 4 conference losses. And we've said all along, we're not sure they can go more than 5 to have a realistic chance here. So I think tomorrow, for a lot of reasons, is a very, very big game. And CBS will have it. Clark Kellogg will be on the call. Jay, appreciate you for joining us. We'll be watching tonight on KTVB. We'll be watching your reports and stuff, getting ready for the game tomorrow. We'll see you at Extra Mile Arena. But Clark Kellogg, CBS announcer, he is on the game tomorrow, and he's popping on to join us from the airport in Atlanta. We'll talk to him next. Clark Kellogg, Bronco Nation News next. Right back in 90 seconds. Bronco Nation News is sponsored by Tommy Ahlquist and Ball Ventures Ahlquist, Idaho's premier commercial real estate development company. BVA projects specialize in office, retail, flex, medical, and industrial spaces located at some of the most strategic and visible locations in the valley. Need a developer? Looking for new space? Think BVA. At BVA, we are Idaho's developer. The Nicolason family and SON management have proudly been operating Taco Bell restaurants in and around the Treasure Valley since 1969. One of the first to make a 7-figure donation to the Lyle Smith Society, they've also stepped up their support of Boise State athletics with the Taco Bell men's and women's basketball endowed scholarships. The Nicolason family and SON management have committed at least $310,000 by 2026. Get more information on their financial support of Boise State Athletics and find information on applying to work at Taco Bell at TacoBellWorks.com. Lithia Ford of Boise is a proud supporter of Boise State Athletics and the official car and truck of the Broncos. Lithia Ford of Boise supports Bronco student athletes through NIL deals, including providing Ford vehicles to Taylon Green and Riley Smith from the football team and Paige Barsh from the volleyball team. Rain's family purchased our F-150 from Lithia Ford. Couldn't be happier with the purchase. Check out the all-electric F-150 Lightning or the electric Mustang Mach-E at Lithia Ford, and make sure to check out their full inventory of vehicles at LithiaFordBoise.com. The Blue and Orange Store is the perfect spot to get all your gear for your next Bronco game. The Blue and Orange Store has official Nike apparel, including jerseys, shirts, sweatshirts, jackets, hats, and more. Wear what the Broncos wear and get it at the Blue and Orange Store, the second floor of the Boise Town Square Mall, or get free shipping on a $40 order online at theblueandorangestore.com. All right, as promised, continuing along here on Bronco Nation News on a Friday. Barely 24 hours till tip-off. Kind of a rare 11 a.m. game here. Big excitement on the show here. Big excitement in Boise for CBS to be in town, San Diego State to be in town, and this man, Clark Kellogg, the lead analyst for CBS, their college basketball coverage, nice enough in between flights to give us a few minutes of his time here. Clark, really appreciate it, man. Looking forward to having you in Boise. How's it going?
Very much looking forward to getting there, BJ. I'm doing great. I get to do something that a lot of people would love to be able to do, bounce around and enjoy talking about college basketball with a great team of colleagues, and my first visit to Boise, and very much looking forward to it.
Yeah, I was at 34,000 feet flying last Saturday, coming back to Boise after their win against Nevada the night before, and was watching that New Mexico San Diego State game and heard you say at halftime that you'd never been to Boise before and that you were doing the game. And right away, I said, I got to track down some contact info for him somehow. And my friend Rich.
Course of the time that I've been at CBS as part of the tournament, but had never had the privilege of being there myself. So very much looking forward to being there and seeing a great game. I mean, two outstanding teams. The Mountain West is a terrific conference, top to bottom. And San Diego State has been the bell cow. I mean, they've been phenomenal across the country, but particularly in the Mountain West championship program in every way. I actually had their game out in San Diego against UNLV a couple of weeks ago with Rich. And they were solid that day, and they got a good win earlier this week. And this is going to be a fun one here. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, we'll get to the matchup here in a minute, but just I know you do a lot of the studio work, but still getting a chance to get out and go to some games and be in the environments with the crowds and stuff. How much do you, even after all these years, still enjoy, sitting there at half court with a headset on and calling these games? And what have you heard about, I guess, the city in Boise and an Extra Mile Arena? And it's going to be a sellout crowd tomorrow. Should be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be great. I mean, I love what I get to do in every aspect of it, BJ. To interact with players and coaches and officials and fans is really a treat. My work is primarily in the studio at this stage in my journey, but I always enjoy and never take for granted the privilege of being able to be courtside, to have the kind of access we do, and to see some of the great venues. I mean, the Mountain West has some tremendous venues, and Boise is one of those places. I mean, it's a special place. The crowd will be alive. I mean, you can feel it and see it through television, and to have a chance to be amongst the people that'll be there courtside is great adrenaline rush for me, even after 30 plus years of doing it. It never gets old. I never, ever take it for granted. I'm extremely grateful. And I love what basketball has meant to me for, oh my goodness, for over 50 years of my life in every capacity.
Yeah, not trying to age you at all, but I mean, you think about your playing career and a McDonald's All-American, first-round draft pick. I mean, you probably saw yourself having this, making yourself as a player, which you did, but obviously the injuries kind of cut that short. I mean, when did you kind of realize that broadcasting was something you kind of wanted to try? And when did you kind of realize, hey, I might be able to make a second career out of this?
You know, when I had to retire from the Pacers in 1987 because of trouble with my left knee, I was always a student of the game. I loved reading about it, talking to my late dad about it, about the players he played against and the greats way before me. So I was always a student of the game. I love reading and communicating. So when I had to retire, I got an opportunity with the Indiana Pacers on radio to stay involved with that franchise, which had been my home as an NBA player. Loved the city of Indianapolis, and that was the beginning. And once I got started, BJ, I was rough around the edges like anybody doing something for the first time, but I knew I wanted to do it well. I thought I could do it well, and I had a ton of folks come alongside me, partners and producers and directors that really helped me grow, and I got better fast. I was doing Pacers radio. I did Cleveland State University television. I'm a Cleveland native. And that was right out of the chute. I retired in August of '87, right after the Pacers had drafted Reggie Miller, and had a full slate of broadcasting assignments between radio and Cleveland State TV right away. And that began to whet the appetite. And I said, I think I might make a run at this. I'm certainly going to give it my best effort. I'm going to approach it like I played. I want to excel. I want to be good. I want to be a good teammate. And lo and behold, I've been at it for closing in on 40 years, man, which is remarkable to think about.
And you got an awesome career. You've done a lot of cool things, but I don't know if there's anything cooler than being in a video game. Your voice on NBA 2K, I think it is.
Yeah.
That's got to be pretty. That had to be pretty cool. And I know that's something too that will go on. You know, with my kids have old video games and stuff, and that's got to be cool.
Oh, it's beyond cool. And how old are your kids, BJ?
6 and 8. But Dad can't afford the 23 NBA 2K. So we go back to the 17, 18 ones, you know, the older years.
You know what? I wish I would have known that. I would have brought you a copy out. I'll keep you in mind going forward. But, yeah, it's been an unbelievable journey with that franchise. Kevin Harlan and I and a ton of other announcers are part of it. And Kevin and I have been, I think this is my 15th year of doing that. And it's connected me to a full generation of folks who have no idea that I'm actually in the game now. I think you can find me as an old school player if you look far enough and hard enough. So I'm actually in it. But for a lot of people, they know me through broadcasting. If they follow hoops, they don't recognize that there was a time when I was actually out there making plays between the lines. So it's pretty cool to be connected to folks that love the game in that kind of way, particularly young folks. I think it's pretty cool that they can learn while playing the game. They can learn a little bit of the history of the game as well.
I just know you as the guy that lost to President Obama and horse. I mean, that's come on now.
Oh man, you sound like some of my basketball fraternity brothers who still look at me with disdain whenever that comes up because they feel like I let them down when I didn't.
You got to you were letting the president win, right? You got to.
I gave him some momentum that he took advantage of. I really didn't want him to win. I wanted to allow him to keep it close, but as you know, when momentum starts, it's hard to change it. And so it's still one of the great moments I've had the privilege of having. Actually, it's way at the top of the list for my experiences in basketball to have a chance to have played with President Obama in a fun setting there at the White House.
Clark Kellogg, our guest, for a couple more minutes before he boards his flight to Boise. We're previewing the big game tomorrow, Boise State, San Diego State, CBS, big CBS, CBS Sports Network's done a lot of games here, but big CBS, it's a big deal here in Boise. I think it's the first ever Boise State game on CBS.
I think it might be. I think you may be actually right on top of that. I'm pretty sure you're right, BJ, and it's a privilege for me to have a chance with Spiro Ditas and the rest of our crew to be there calling the action.
I know you're going to probably talk to the coaches and players and stuff either tonight or tomorrow before the game, and you're still doing your prep, but just from afar, what's your take on Leon Rice and this Boise State program and you know, what they've done, I guess, in the past, but also this year here?
Very impressive. He's an impressive guy. He's been a terrific coach, even as an assistant at Gonzaga, and he's done a great job in his tenure there in terms of championship caliber, NCAA tournament, postseason play for the Broncos. Got a lot of respect and admiration and appreciation for Leon, not just because of what he does, but how he does it. I mean, he does it in a way that impacts young men that he's entrusted to in a positive manner while having success and being competitive. That's what you want to see happen in the world of collegiate, even high school athletics. The program is solid, and this year is maybe one of the stronger years in the Mountain West overall. I mean, you're looking at where teams are ranked in the net. I think half a dozen in the top 70 or so in the net rankings, and every game's a challenge. And it's a fun league to cover. It really is. So I've been impressed from afar with what the Broncos have been able to do under Leon Rice and his staff.
Now, 0-9 all time, kind of the monkey on their back. They've never won an NCAA tournament game. 0-9. Leon's 0-4. And the last couple of years, they've got there and thought they had a chance and had some bad matchups. But this would be the first time in school history they even get to 3 tournaments in a row if they can get there. But a lot of fans in Boise, there was a lot of hype coming into this season up until the loss the other night against UNLV. I mean, there was really a ton of positive momentum. I know people are still excited, but is this team talented enough? Maybe this is a better question for after Saturday's game when you see them in person. But I mean, is this the team that you think can get in, not only get in, but finally break through this year?
Yeah, breaking through in the tournament, getting there is the accomplishment. It's hard. It's really hard. And I know fans are impatient and you want to win. Coaches and players do too, but it's difficult. And the tournament is a one-game issue. And that tends to create a lot of challenge to advance. Seeding is a factor. The matchup is even more of a factor. Who do you play? How are they playing? What's the state of your team? So, yeah, I think based on the games I've watched, and I've watched half a dozen, this is a really solid team. They've got enough experience and enough raw material. But then it's a matter of continuing to play well. And then, BJ, you want to be playing your best basketball as you get to the tournament and try not to have one of those off games because, again, it's a one-and-done situation. So as unpredictable as the tournament is, you look at the Broncos, if they're there, they would have a chance, I would think, to beat whoever they would play against, assuming it was a reasonable matchup. Obviously, there's some teams out there that are pretty much separated from the pack right now.
From a national perspective, what did San Diego State's run last year do to help the validity of the Mountain West as a whole in this conference and for the league to back it up with maybe 5-6 teams worthy of a tournament this year right after San Diego State went to the title game? I know you've mentioned the Mountain West kind of being a good league, and I think for a while a lot of people have slept on it, a lot of late-night games and stuff out west, but I think this year it's finally getting the attention it deserves, as evident by I think this is the 3rd Saturday in a row that the Mountain West will have a game on CBS.
Yeah, obviously it raises your level of notoriety. For those of us who cover college basketball on a regular basis, we understand how good the Mountain West is and how good the teams and coaches are. But there is a validation that comes with winning in the tournament, having a team get to the Final Four championship game. There's no denying that. That clearly elevates the status. But it doesn't dismiss the accomplishment of what's taking place when you get multiple teams to the tournament. There aren't a lot of leagues that do that. So that clearly is a level of excellence. And then obviously the next level is, can you put together a run? And I'm one that doesn't believe you can be a champion without winning championships.
Sure.
And you can be a really good program and maybe have some tough times in the tournament, but winning conference championships, competing for those, I know it sometimes gets lost, but I don't think we should lose track of what that means. I mean, those are significant. Now, you always want to get to the next run. I mean, it's like playing golf. If you shoot 80, you want to break 80. And if you break,
it's more like 100 for me. I'm shooting to break 100 most days.
It's all relative. My point is that you're always striving to try to do a little better. And hopefully the Broncos will be able to get there and break through with the win during March Madness.
Two quick state of the game questions, and we'll get you out of here. And I really appreciate your time. Fans are loving this. But transfer portal, NIL, the whole state of college basketball, you've seen it from when none of this was happening all the way through this now. What do you make of now we have legislation in Congress trying to get rid of the, multiple time transfer rules and all this kind of stuff. And we're seeing NIL and this everything that's going on there. We had the FBI case with all these schools the last couple of years. What do you just make about the state of the game of college basketball right now?
In general, we're in transition, but life is transition and transformation. That's going to be always part of our existence. And we clearly are in a unique time. I think NIL and the transfer portal, long overdue. As a matter of fact, there are only a few sports where you couldn't transfer and play right away. Men and women's basketball, football, and there was one other sport. So now having the chance, I don't know if multiple transfers should be allowed. That to me smells a little bit of just being a bit mercenary, maybe losing track of the educational component. But I'm all for students having the right that are athletes to not be penalized for being on scholarship, which is what NIL is about, and then having the ability to transfer within reason. Every other student, the school might be too big. The style of play might not work. You want to be close. There's all kinds of reasons that you should be allowed to transfer. Now, multiple times, let's think about what that is and maybe have some parameters on that. But by and large, we have a great opportunity amidst the challenges, BJ, those who are going to make decisions, to really create a model that's education-centric. It needs to be, if we're talking about college athletics, and still is economically realistic because there is a business component to it, that's experiential enhancing for the young people that are playing the sports. Because education, we know education is a life changer. And if sports can be a vehicle for young people to have the opportunity to get a life-changing experience through education, we should be doing everything we can to make sure that that is still available within a sustainable, realistic, fair model. And that's going to take significant work and an openness to things being different than they ever have been before. And that's not necessarily bad.
I totally agree with that. I mean, I'm a basketball junkie, Clark. Like, I study the Ken Pom, the net rankings. Like, when I can't sleep at 3 a.m. and I roll over, I look to see if the net's been updated yet. I mean, I just like to look at the quad system and all this, but nobody can figure out exactly how you get the net ranking. And I know, like, there was a game, some of these teams are beating bad teams by 40 points and moving up 30 spots in the net ranking. And a team like Boise State's challenging itself against Clemson on the road and some of these tournaments, and maybe doesn't have as high of a ranking as some of these other Mountain West teams that largely didn't challenge themselves. What's your take, I guess, on the net ranking and its impact and just the sabermetrics and analytics and all this, and how we're picking teams for the tournament and stuff these days?
Yeah. It's the best model of an imperfect system. It's impossible to really quantify and qualify all of the numbers in a way that seems fair to everybody. I think the best answer is to do what you know you need to do in challenging yourself and stack wins and be healthy and playing your best basketball. And I think since we've expanded to 68 teams, there's very few occasions where anybody has a legitimate gripe if they haven't been included in the field of 68. And to me, that speaks volumes. Clearly, we've got a good formula. We've got a magic event and product in college hoops. And there always are going to be a few disappointments, but rare. So I think you do the things that you believe are important to giving yourself the best chance based on your program and team. You challenge yourself, you play good people, and then you stack wins, because ultimately that's the greatest way to make your case.
Well, final question for you, and we really appreciate your time. 16 plus minutes here, and I'm very thankful. The game tomorrow, 11 a.m. CBS, Boise, Idaho, the national stage. Broncos had the nation's longest home court winning streak, 22 games, and couldn't make a free throw against UNLV down the stretch, and lost.
They couldn't get a key defensive rebound either.
No,
that was the biggest thing. That was the biggest.
I was going to say they gave up a lot of offensive rebounds. Then San Diego State just got 20 offensive rebounds. So that's probably one of them. But I guess final thing, what are just your keys to this game? What are you going to be looking for tomorrow?
Well, these teams are so similar, so good defensively. Defense-centric teams share the ball. It's going to come down, I think, obviously, rebounding is going to be a big factor. Can you squeeze out some easy buckets? Can you find some fast break opportunities? Can you make your free throws when you get them? I think you've got to keep San Diego State off the free throw line if you're Boise. I mean, they average 23 attempts a game from the line, and they shoot 70+% from the line as a group. So you've got to do a good job defending them without fouling, and that's hard when you've got a guy like Ladie. Rebounding always a key. Both of these teams take good care of the basketball. Pace is going to be moderate. In my opinion, it won't be a game. Baskets. Can you get second shots, fast break points, those kind of things? And then the three-point shot. Neither of these teams shoot a bunch of them. They're not really strong, prolific three-point shooting teams. But in a game, perhaps you find 8 out of 22 or whatever it might be, a little above your norm, and that could be a differentiator as well. So those are kind of the things that I'm looking at that might impact who comes out on top of this.
Well, we appreciate your time. I've seen 3 or 4 people behind you there kind of going, is that Clark Kellogg? I mean, I don't know if you got the I don't know if you have the glossy photos and the Sharpie with you, but you might have some signatures there in the airport to sign. But we really appreciate it. I know you're going on KTIK radio this afternoon here in Boise, our partners as well. So hopefully folks will listen to that. But looking forward to seeing you in the morning and safe travels. And it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow.
Very much so, BJ. Appreciate the time, man. Great to hang out with you, and I look forward to seeing you in 3D up close and in person tomorrow.
I don't know if that's such a good thing, but
it will be. It will be.
Appreciate it, Clark. Thanks.
All right, man. Take care. Yeah. Bye-bye.
There he is, Clark Kellogg. We appreciate him for joining us on Bronco Nation News. Again, BNN 50 deals, the promo code. I have to admit that I forgot to get the wheel ready, so we will do it on the pregame show tomorrow. We'll have bigger viewership for the pregame show anyway, so we'll give you one more day to sign up if you're interested. BNN 50 deal is that promo code. $50 for a full year at BroncoNationNews.com. And our big giveaway tomorrow is this grill, this good old-fashioned charcoal barbecue pit. We have some gift cards to the James Kitchen and Bar. I've got to pick 2, and I actually have to do this now because I'll do this here in a second, but I've got 2 gift cards to the James to give away, and then I've also got our giveaway tomorrow that will give away to our paying subscribers, which is going to be this grill right here. So BNN 50 deal is the promo code, and we would love to have you sign up, and we would love to give this to you if you're able to win our contest. So a lot of cool things going on with Bronco Nation News. BNN 50 deal is the promo code, and again, our grand prize is the trip for 2 on the private jet. So the trip for 2 on the private jet to San Diego, final game of the season. And we're giving that away here in a couple of weeks to our yearly paying subscribers. So you can sign up for a yearly subscription at BroncoNationNews.com. Again, the promo code BNN50 deal, and you get $50 for the full year. Let's see if I can do this on the fly. Okay, so we have 27 of you that made comments, and this is a new thing that I can do with the StreamYard technology here. So we'll see if I can share the correct screen. StreamYard has a giveaway tool that lets us do it during the show here. So 27 of you put comments in here during the show, and so we're going to give away a $25 gift card to the James Kitchen and Bar, and we're going through right here our 27 of you that made a comment today, and our winner is going to be Dayton Robinson is our first winner. This is way to go, Dayton. Nice work for you. A $25 gift card to the James Kitchen and Bar. Again, they have awesome premium cocktails. They've got great food, too, for folks that don't drink. Great full menu, and the pizza's tremendous. Some other great stuff as well. So our first winner is Dayton Robinson, and we will draw again for one more $25 gift card to the James Kitchen and Bar. And this is for anyone that made a comment during the show today. We appreciate all of you. Derek Morales, our other winner is Derek Morales. So congratulations to you, Derek. So Derek, I believe I will give the names to the James, and they will write your names down. Derek Morales and Dayton Robinson, congratulations to you guys. And we'll have some more tomorrow as well. We appreciate you guys all for commenting and watching the show. Our actual giveaway for subscribers will be tomorrow morning on the pregame show. And the James Kitchen and Bar, perfect spot after the game tomorrow. You want to get some lunch, get some drinks, celebrate hopefully a Boise State win. Check out the James Kitchen and Bar right across the street from Albertson Stadium. Let the traffic die down. Walk over and have lunch, have some drinks, watch some college basketball on TV, and let the traffic die down. Go back and get your car on the way home from the game. So perfect post-game spot tomorrow. The James Kitchen and Bar. So congratulations to both of you guys for winning. Thank you guys. Brent says great interview, great questions. There we go. Awesome interview. Super impressive interview. Sam says get him on the show, open up like that. Impressive. thank you guys. Appreciate all you guys for the kind words on the interview there. Nice of him between flights to jump on from the Atlanta airport. I've done that flight. Not a fun flight, Atlanta to Boise. It's like 4+ hours in the air, and safe travels for Clark on his way to Boise. San Diego State, they're flying this afternoon as well. Quick turnaround for them. They only had one full day of prep yesterday. They played Wednesday night. Boise State played on Tuesday. So obviously Boise State gets to stay at home as well and have the extra day. San Diego State played Wednesday late and then had yesterday, and then already is turning around and flying today. So from a preparation standpoint, Boise State would seem to have the edge a little bit as well there. So again, appreciate you guys for watching. Thanks so much. Tell your friends. Go subscribe if you can. BNN50 deals, that promo code, and we'll make some drawings on the pregame show tomorrow. We'll be live around 10 o'clock, early pregame show. This is the first time in a while I'm going to have to set an alarm on a Saturday for a Boise State basketball game. But we will be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow to get you set for the broadcast just after 11 o'clock on CBS. Still some limited tickets remaining. If you're on the fence, highly recommend it. Going to be the best atmosphere of the year tomorrow night. Going to be an awesome game that could have a big say in Boise State's chances of both getting to the NCAA tournament and winning the Mountain West Conference. So come say hello tomorrow if you're at the game. Would love to see you guys. Appreciate you. Make sure you're watching 10 a.m. with the pregame show. We're heading over to interview Leon Rice and Roddy Anderson here in a little bit, and we'll get those videos up on the YouTube channel as well. So have a great rest of your day. We appreciate you guys for watching, and we'll talk to you at 10 a.m. tomorrow with the Lithia Florida Boise pregame show. Again, thanks to Clark Kellogg. Thanks to Jay Tust. As always, thanks to my wife, Karen, and my kids. Love you guys. Appreciate you. We'll talk to you at 10 a.m. tomorrow. Bronco Nation News Live here at BroncoNationNews.com.